The lymphatic system is your miracle worker. It is here to support you. We just have to understand how to work with it.
If you don't have your health, what do you have?
You are a functional medicine doctor.
Join us as we blend modern and ancient wisdoms to be well now.
Reducing inflammation, reducing your stress, improving your life.
Yes.
Be well now. Welcome to the Be Well Now podcast. I'm Nick, the Curious Patient, joined, of course, by Dr. Ron Dummar and a special guest today, Stephanie Gulu, to talk about lymphatic massage.
Yes.
We're so excited to have Stephanie here today, aren't we?
I had a lymphatic massage. I didn't know what happened, but it was the best experience probably of my health journey ever. I've had other massages. I felt more energy. I felt like the inflammation went down. I never felt fatigued after. It was almost inexplicable. And it was like, let's get you on the podcast and explain the importance of the lymph system and what you do. And Dr. Ron Dummar, you're the one who said, you've got to try this.
Yeah, well, it was especially motivating after Nick had a transcendent experience in the massage room. And he came out, and the people he was talking to and the way he talked about it. And I've had several of Stephanie's phenomenal massages, and we've tried to get people to do them as well. And we have a great clinic here where a lot of people are doing the lymphatic massage. But Nick's response to it, I loved, and I was so impressed. I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely our next topic.
I texted you next day. I was like, I feel motivated and energetic. I haven't felt this way in years.
Yeah.
What happened? And so, Stephanie, do you know what happened? Like, what did you do? Like, what is the lymph system's importance? And what is I don't know. I'm just at this point where I'm like, someone talk about it. I experienced it. I can share that, but I don't know the magic.
The magic behind it is the lymphatic system. And when we give it a little attention, we're helping it to combat modern day life. You notice the difference because of that inflammation, or it will also say because of decreased the chemical load. We really look at how much water do you drink, how much movement do you have. We know that today, even when we schedule the gym, we tend to be very sedentary. We're driving in our cars, we're sitting, we're doing computer work. And so all of that, the lymphatic system moves by muscle contraction, deep breathing. The heart doesn't pump it. So it's very slow.
I want to talk about the lymphatic system with you real quick and then get back to, because we're going to show some tips you can use at home to not only work on your kids, which is why the baby's here, but on yourself. So some of the tools that you maybe used on me that helped a lot, we'll get into that. But you talked about modern day disease being a result of inflammation. Absolutely. Before the podcast. And can you kind of connect that to the lymph system and like how important this is?
Well, absolutely. A modern day disease is inflammation. It's like we're an inflamed nation. And so we're not dying. We don't have people dying all the time from infection. We don't have those things used to happen. And now we've progressed in a way medically where we feel like we're able to prevent those type of deaths. But we also are having skyrocketing, elevating levels of death that are occurring as a result of chronic disease. The chronic disease epidemic, which is inflammation generated in this country, is skyrocketing, and it's only getting worse. Okay. And so inflammation itself, if you can't clear inflammation from the body and use your detoxification methods to do that, then it's going to pool in the body, it's going to house in the body, and it's going to deteriorate tissue within the body. So ligaments, tendons become more brittle and dried out. Discs like in the spine become more brittle and dried out and more susceptible to disc herniation. Even joints themselves wear out. Those tissue surfaces, the joint surfaces themselves will wear out and develop degenerative joint disease. So there is a onslaught of an epidemic of chronic disease, and it's inflammation based. We are an inflammation disease society. So we need to be able to address inflammation head on. And the way that you do that, what's responsible for mitigating inflammation in the body is the lymphatic system. We actually have more lymph fluid in the body than we have blood. So it's a pretty critical system for us to get a handle on and to understand. And Stephanie Gulu is a part of our practice for that very reason.
And you said that 90% of cancer metastases.
Oh my gosh, yes. 90% of cancer metastases does occur through the lymphatic system.
What does that mean?
Essentially, when you have cancer in a certain area or cells that are replicating, reproducing, typically that's an immune modulated issue. Cells are replicating in a way that they shouldn't replicate. We do have these cancer cells throughout our body at any time, but it's our immune system's responsibility to mitigate them, move them to the lymphatic system and clear them from the body. Okay, so they can be moving through the lymphatic system and dispersed if our detoxification pathways are open. But if we're sluggish, just like Stephanie mentioned, if we're not moving, if our muscles are not contracting well enough and we're not pumping that fluid through, it has the opportunity to fester or to not even clear that cancerous lesion. And then it can spread and eventually get into the lymphatic system. And then from that point, it's not moving ideally enough to actually clear through the detoxification pathways like the gut and the GI. And so what will happen is it will just move through the lymphatic system to another location. And when it moves to another location, that's called metastases.
So I would be skeptical of all this, and I think my eyes would be just kind of glazing over with all this information had I not experienced it, the magic of it. Can you explain what you did? Because I've had massages where they work really deep into the muscles and I'm getting beat up, but this is good, It just felt very gentle. There were things that you did like around the stomach that I'd never felt that worked on before. And I was like, oh, this is different. Like an intestine was massaged or something. It was very strange, but it was magical. So I'm curious kind of to all the people who don't quite understand the lymph system, you're the hands-on person who works on it.
So the majority of the time I do spend in the stomach, as you experienced. And one of the questions that I start with is, what's your energy on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the best, 1 being the lowest.
I think I said 6.
And so now we're looking at Eastern medicine, Eastern philosophy, the idea that we need enough energy for tonification to support the process that we're doing. And so we're starting with points, Chinese medicine points, acupuncture points, Ayurvedic points. I'm doing the reflexology points on the top of the foot that relate to the lymphatic system. I'm spending time in the middle of the foot because the feet aid homeostasis to the body. It helps bring balance. I want the person on the table to relax, because if you think about stress, stress tightens us. When everything's tight, it's not going to flow. So we want to open up. We want to relax.
You started with the feet too, and I was like, oh man, I haven't had like a foot massage in so long. Like, oh, this is magical. So yeah, that did set me in a really good place.
And scalp points.
Yep.
Right? We're opening up the energy that flows to the mind. Dr. Dummar can also talk about this. We look at the mind and the heart being one together to help open up the energetic flow, and then that supports the detox. So we want this scale. The lymphatic work is a detox. I want to support it so it's very balanced. I don't want this or this.
Yes.
So energy work first.
Okay, because someone even said, I told them I got a lymphatic massage. They're like, well, did you get sick after? Because I hear a lot of people do. And I was like, you must have, yeah.
So we're counterbalancing.
Because I had been sick before, and I felt like I just finally came out of it after the massage.
So it's designed to give you energy. And then we do the lymphatic massage primarily starting with the stomach, because it's the highest concentration of lymph nodes. So we're using that. We're following the intestinal tract, bringing everything to the descending colon, knowing that things are going to leave also through the urinary system. So we're opening up, we call it opening the gates. We're opening up the stomach. We're encouraging that part of the body to move and to have, let me say this correctly. So as things are draining, if you look at a ferry, a boat ferry, all the cars drive onto the ferry, and when the boat stops, the cars in the back have to wait to drive off. That first row has to drive off, that second, and so on. And then that last row and that last car can drive off because there's a clear path. So we're clearing a path from the highest area of lymph nodes so that there's room. Then I can, if I have sinus issues, I'm draining underneath first, the neck, I get here last because I'm clearing a path. If I have ankle edema, if I have leg issues, I'm starting with the top of the thigh first, working my way down, which is opposite of a traditional massage. Because we start at the top of the leg. Well, we start at the ankle and we go up, effleurage, right? So that is, and now the small intestine, now I know that there's 150 nodes around the small intestine. Dr. Dummar needs to speak about this and the fluid there. So when I heard that, when I saw that on a video recently, I thought, oh my gosh, I need to spend more time here.
Yeah. And it only makes sense, like what you just described. If you have a big tube and you're trying to clear that tube out, well, you can push from this end, from one end, but then it's just clogged, and it takes a lot of pressure. And we just don't have any means for building up that pressure. The heart pumps the blood, but we have no pumping mechanism except for like muscles and things for the fluid. So we don't ever generate enough pressure to really push those stagnant fluids into the GI. So it has to be done through exercise, through movement, even through gravity sometimes, like bouncing on a trampoline or something like that. But it only makes sense that there is more attachments of the lymphatic system to the GI, to the gut, to the major detoxification organ than anywhere else in the body, because it literally needs to have as many channels and opportunities as possible to be able to clear pathogens and inflammatory chemicals from the body as quickly as possible. And to mitigate the fluid and the inflammation in the body, it can dump that out very quickly through the GI because there's so many access points. The other cool thing is, and with Nick's story too, because I've thought a lot about, but man, why did he had a brilliant experience.
A lot of gut issues as a kid, a lot of antibiotics, and I'm wondering, like, the stomach has always felt like a really unsolved mystery to me. And I'm not saying it's solved, but the fact that you worked on it, I was like, that just felt really nice.
Well, and the cool thing too is that in the GI, lymphatic system actually plays a little bit of a role in absorbing fat metabolized, or essentially fat soluble type of vitamins and minerals. So things that are fat soluble actually can get taken up a little bit by the lymphatic system from the GI. So when you've consumed something, we've been medicinally treating Nick for a long time, right? And we've even medicinally treated him for these past few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, when he's like, man, something's going on. I'm just not there. Like I'm not like I was.
Like your herbs.
I'm better than I was. Yeah, I'm better than I was, but I'm not. Like I just, something's off. And then all of a sudden he gets this massage, and then the lymphatic system is cleared out, and then he's able to take up nutrients in a better way than he was before. And now he has more energy, right?
Night and day. I mean, like mental health, metabolic health, I just felt so much better. I was like, is this the thing I've been searching for my whole life? Because I've tried a lot of stuff, a lot of things, and I'm willing to try pretty much anything. And this was just like, oh, usually I find there's a price to pay, even the good stuff. Even if I get spiritually high, like just having a really good meditation, or like, community with people, or I get a good night's sleep, or I go to a good concert, or I'm eating well, or I'm getting rid of this. It always feels like there's just some price to pay. There's a come down when you go high. And so with this, I was like, oh, it's like a massage. Then I'm going to feel really tired the next day, and then maybe I'm going to get sick. And it didn't feel like there was a price. It felt like something had been opened or unlocked for my body to just like start to heal itself. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. It's like meditation. You can talk about it all day long, but you have to experience it to actually, like, there's only so much you can say. So I would encourage anybody, if you're on the fence, community health and wellness in Heber.
I say the stomach is the missing piece. It is what we as a society have ignored, the stomach. Even massage therapists. I'm even guilty of that as a career in massage therapy. The back takes precedence, and so we just cut out the stomach. No one rarely ever gets their stomach done. When's the last time you had stomach work? And when's the last time you had time spent around your belly button? I don't think any of us have.
It felt bizarre, but like profound. Were you like right around my belly button? Is that an intestine? Is that a organ?
The small intestine. Well, for me in my work, I'm working around the belly button to stimulate the lymph around the small intestine.
as you were doing it, I'm like, this feels special. Like it feels like an area that has never been worked on, but it just felt vitally important. Anyway.
Well, and Stephanie too, she mentioned before how she really highlights and I love this about her massage as well, is highlights the energy and the energetics of what she's doing. There is an energetic stimuli, right? There's nervous tissue, right? And nervous system sends out energetic signals all the time. So we're working with neurotransmitters as well. And she mentioned she starts on the feet, which I think is it's really neat and it's impressive. And a lot of people, when we do acupuncture as energy medicine, they're asking, well, what are you doing on my feet and my hands, right? And just understanding the significance of starting there and getting things ready, like you were saying, Nick, it's like when you develop embryologically, you start as a little nervous system, right? You almost look like a little seahorse. You have a brain, and then you have this extension we call the spinal cord, and then these little nerves that come out, and they actually send electrical signals that generate the production of tissue that produce organs, right? And then from there, we just spread out these arms. Like we take some of the neurology that created these organs and spread out this arm and then spread out this leg, and that neurology is in our limbs. So when you talk about stimulating the neurology of the liver, stimulating the neurology of the kidney and the spleen, from the ankle, like you're literally doing that. That's awakening the body, preparing it neurologically from a brain and organ connection to prepare for this lymphatic drainage. And as well, it wakes up all of those organs to say, hey, let's be balanced in performing and maybe even clearing or detoxifying, which is what we need to do right now.
Could we talk about some ways to treat our own bodies or our kids?
Yes.
If folks are like, all right, I kind of buy in, but like show me stuff that I can use.
Yes. So I am all about using this at home on yourself with your family, that you really have more power than you think with your own hands. And so working with feet are really easy. You know, there's no right or wrong. Just slowing down and breathing. So if you have some lotion or coconut oil, you put them on your children's feet, your teenagers, your loved one. It's just really being soothing. So I will do some just basic massage strokes. And
so on the sole of the foot, you want to be
on the sole of the foot. So I will do the whole entire feet.
Okay.
I will just do some, I'll say circular thumbs. I just use some whole hand contact. I actually wipe off the oil and then I push. So if we use the tip of our thumb, we go onto the side, because if we go straight in, you're going to feel the nail. So we really use the side of the thumb. I'm just on the outside of my thumb, and I push like a diagonal, right? I just roll onto the side.
See if you can get Nick to do it. See if he can.
The inner.
Yeah. So I just take the outside of my thumb, and really we want to go on the side and up, the side and up.
Okay.
I can also just push. I can circle.
And you're looking for tender spots, or what are you
I'm
feeling
looking
for?
for tender spots, but I'm just want to cover the foot.
Okay.
And I would say the most important would be the whole arch, the middle of the foot.
The middle.
The middle. If we look at in front of the heel to the ball of the foot, the pad, that whole arch would be the middle of the foot. Now, I had my reflexology teacher, who is the president of one of the reflexology boards for the U.S. In my class, he said, you know what? People are not anatomically correct, meaning their organs might be higher, it might be lower, it might be to the right or to the left. He says, if you do look up a foot chart or a reflexology chart, he goes, just be thorough. You don't have to worry that you're in the right place. Just cover the area.
The entire foot?
Yes, if you have the time, the entire foot. If you just have a small amount of time, I say the whole middle of the foot and even the inside edge. That's the spine line. Most people have tightness in their spine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if a young mother or something is wanting to do something to help her child, then she doesn't have to worry about, okay, how long and do I have to be super specific, and am I getting the right points in the foot? Just some basic points then, just in the middle, around the arch, and really just create a bond or a connection.
Yes.
Use it as an opportunity to support your child and create that bonding moment.
Yes. And
Okay. Yeah.
under the second toe, if you're at the pinky toe on the outside and that next second toe,
So pinky toe and then the next one next to
Yeah.
it. Okay.
just right at the base, that is the ear point. If your children are having ear infections or ear problems,
Wow.
And
That's
that's next to the nail bed.
on the bottom of the foot,
Okay, by the web.
by the web, right under the second toe,
Between the fourth and the fifth digit.
the pinky.
Okay. Between
yeah,
those
so
two.
just right underneath. You're just gonna go under the second toe and just push.
Yeah.
And I have had 3 children on my table in the last week and a half here at the clinic, a 3rd grader, a 5th grader, and another young elementary school girl. And they have no problem with me working on their feet.
Really?
They just lay back and relax and they just totally absorb it.
My kids love it too. I've done it before, like foot massages. I use the ozonated olive oil that you have in the
Oh, it's
office
great.
just because I have it sitting around. A little greasy if you use too much of it, but yeah, the kids love the foot massage. I don't think anyone minds a good foot massage.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
anymore
some
it-
people do, but yeah.
And then working on their stomach. That's if your children are having anxiety, they need calming, ear infections, respiratory health, sinus, asthma. Again, we're helping to drain by working on the stomach. You know, I also say for all people and even youth, just scalp massage. And a lot of like massage therapists will want to rub the hair, and that's not really what we're doing. We want to just really have full finger contact and then do circles, and I'll release and I'll do circles. And I'll just really take the time to go through the scalp. And so when I'm working on someone, really, I just want to have my feet planted on the floor. I want to have my knees bent. And I just want to take a couple of breaths also and calm myself. And then I go to the person.
Now, this could be
Right.
done for a spouse as well, not just
Yes.
for an infant or a child, but it could be done for a spouse, any age. It could be done for an ailing parent or something like that as well, right?
Yes. I used to do my own scalp when I'd be at red lights. When I'm at red lights, waiting when I'm driving.
Oh, I think
Yes.
you meant red light therapy. I
No,
was
no,
like, oh, no, red
red
light's the
light- That's a good
time,
opposite.
too.
The
Yes.
worst red light. When you're,
Driving, no.
She would
be
do
at
that
a
instead of
red
honking
light.
the horn. So you mean?
Yeah. So if I'm sitting at a red light and I'm like, instead of getting frustrated that I'm in traffic or that I'm waiting, right? Sometimes signals take forever. I have my hands on my scalp.
Yeah.
is there any spot in particular you just want to get all 5 points in there or fingers?
I mean,
There's lots.
Dr. Dummar
So the
can speak to this. There's the whole head is covered with acupuncture points.
The due meridian, right down the midline, the due meridian. So you can choose any midline point. And then you do have motor points all through or here. You can choose a few lines and go kind of towards the ear and then the hairline. There's a variety of stomach points and different organ points and gallbladder. So yeah, definitely following the hairline's a good idea. The midline point, those are all, the motor point, which is probably just about an inch or 2 behind that hairline. And you kind of work your way down towards the ear on either side.
So the founder of this technique that I base my work on, he said that the greatest thing that he has ever seen is that the more time he spends on someone's head, the better they feel. So if I have someone come in with low energy, they're at a 3, they're at a 4, I'm going to keep coming back up to the head. I'll do the feet, I'll do the head, I'll do the stomach, I'll do the head. I might do the hands, I'll do the head. Then back to the stomach. Because I want to support the body's energetic system.
Now, one of the cool things about
Well,
you too, Steph,
but
go ahead, Nick.
I can't let this go. You mentioned the stomach, but you didn't explain it. I'm really wanting to stay on the.
Okay.
Can you
so
hold that thought while she explains
Yeah,
the
yeah,
stomach?
sure.
Because
So
I
the
want to know how to work
stomach-
on my kids if they're having,
Yes.
if they're
We-
sick at home and
we work right to left. Okay. Always
So from the top
right
down.
to
like
left.
like
So
the person's right to left.
the person's right to left. I'm really aiming towards the inside of the right hip bone.
And so, and that's near kind of the appendix area for a lot of people.
And then I'm coming up to the rib cage. I go across to the other side of the rib cage, but now like this is a good place for the belly button. So when I come across, I lighten up my pressure over the belly button. I jump over it because we don't really want to be pushing on the abdominal aorta because it's not comfortable. So I go across, I jump over, and then I come down.
And that abdominal aorta, that's the artery, the main artery that drives the blood down. It's pumped through from the heart down into the lower limbs. So you don't want to cut that off, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing an upside down U. I don't go across at the bottom. I'm not just going around. Mm-hmm. I'm very directional and I'm very intentional. And so now with this work also, we set the intention of the lymphatic system. So when I am massaging the stomach, I am thinking, I'm helping the lymphatic system. I'm aiding the lymphatic system. So I have the intention in my mind. Now I'm doing an upside down U.
With what kind of pattern with your fingers? How much pressure?
So
I'm not trying to become you.
Oh, no.
Find,
this is okay.
I'm not trying to get free anything, but tips for folks at home.
No.
So are you doing
totally
like small
fine.
circles? Because before you were talking about circles. Right. Is that the type of thing you're doing? Or is it just...
No. Okay. So now we're at a linear pressure.
Okay. So just a line.
So I want to drag or pull. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I want to keep that pressure. So if I change hands on someone small, I could be using 2 fingers. On an adult, I'm going to use my hand. Kind of whatever will fit. I want to drag. I'm not doing deep tissue massage. I am putting in some pressure and then I'm slowly dragging up. On an adult, I can watch them take 2 to 3 breaths for me to go to the hip, to the ribs. That's how slow it is. And I go across, I lighten up, I go across, I come down. So it's much slower than a traditional massage.
And you'll plan to do like 3 or 4 passes of that upside down U?
Yes.
Okay. So 3 or 4 times.
I can tell so much of what you do is like based on the body and the feel, and your touch is magical. So it's like, I know we're trying to put you in a box by getting the standard operating procedure. I can tell you just like thinking about it.
She's very responsive.
Yeah. So I would say on a child, 3 or 4 times is great. If they have an active, cold, runny nose, and again, we're working with the child, we're never forcing. So if they only want to lay down for 2 minutes, we're only doing 2 minutes.
Okay.
If they'll like wiggle around for 5 minutes, great. When they want to run up and get up, that's fine. I'm just working around them. So I might do it at bedtime. I might do it if they're sitting on my lap, right? Especially if we're talking about the ears now and we want to work down the neck and the sternum. So number 1, we're working with the kids. The kids that I had on the table were fine for 30 minutes. So I've already worked on their feet.
And those are grade school age kids.
Their head. And so now I go to their stomach. So I would say 3 or 4, I would cut it off for right now, I'm going to say 3 to 5 would be great. 7 or 8 if somebody has something really active going on. And I'm going to say for elementary school, I don't recommend more than 10 to start with. I would just 10 passes.
Okay.
So the upside down U, is that it?
Upside down U, we're dragging or we're pulling, and we're just directing everything to the descending colon so that it can leave.
And if I do that on myself, would I want to be lying down or sitting up, or does it?
I recommend lying down.
Okay.
And just putting your knees up. All you have to do is put your knees up so the stomach muscles are not contracted, they're soft. And then I get some oil or lotion. I put it on the outside, just the way I'm going to work, really. And then I start on the belly button. We don't really need any lotion or oil. So I'm putting that to the test right now. It's my experiment. I'm always experimenting. I set a timer for a minute. So on my own stomach, I'll set a timer between 7 and 8 minutes. I think 8 is great, but...
Because you say you work on your stomach every day.
I do.
So I want to learn your tricks.
Yeah. So
tricks,
I
but
said
your
it. I literally.
You're just encircling the umbilicus
Yeah. So I'm.
for 7 minutes.
No. So
Okay.
the 7 minutes is the stomach. It's the upside down U.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So now the belly button, I set a timer for 1 minute and I did it every day for 5 days, but I was feeling detoxy and just kind of strange every morning. So now I had to either I have to up my own water intake and maybe some fiber because I haven't had that much attention around my belly button. So I'm actually thinking 30 seconds because that area has not had attention if we're going to do it every day. So I say pick something that you can work with 2 times a week, 4 times a week.
What is the belly button? I've heard the U. I've heard the U.
Yeah. So what I really do is I have my hands in a circle. Okay. I want to do a circle around the belly button. On myself, I have to have my thumbs down so that my thumbs are touching the skin. Okay. I really want to go from palm to pinky, pinky to palm. I want to cover around the belly button slowly. We're trying to be rhythmic to engage the smooth muscle.
So you're keeping like almost a contact the whole time and just
Yes.
changing the location of your,
Yeah.
almost like a plate that's wobbling like around.
Is it kind of like this? Like
Yeah. So I just want to, the thumbs and then the fingers. Just move this. So, okay, so we're thumbs and then the hands. So if Dr. Dummar puts his hands back on the table, I'm putting pressure here. I'm coming around. I want to create this movement right here around my belly button. And then again, I'll slow down. And we can only really get so much pressure working on ourselves. I'm not really worried about pressure. We can only.
And we want to do this for 30 seconds every day for ourselves.
That's my experiment now.
Or 2 to 4 times a week.
Yes.
Okay.
I say, notice how you feel. And again, you probably need to increase your water.
What about the upside down U? When do you do that?
So for me at this point, I give my stomach 3 passes every day when I get out of the shower because I put on lotion. And so and I will slow down. I'll take a breath. Sometimes I'm not as slow as I need to be, but literally I give my stomach 3 passes every day. If I have a cold, allergies, fatigue, dental work, I'm flying on an airplane, I've been exposed to sick kids, I will lay down and put my knees up and set the timer for something. And I try to get back to doing that at least once a week, but sometimes I don't.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, I think, hey, if I want to get ahead of and prevent any sort of chronic inflammatory disease process, whether it be diabetes or any sort of degenerative disease of my joints or spine or even autoimmune type of diseases, then we really need to make sure we hone the lymphatic system. And now we know how we can do it. And you've given us some tips that are brilliant. I think that's fantastic. Nick, did you have any other questions that you wanted?
I guess just the fact that we could spend hours and days and months talking about it. I mean, you've trained a long time for this. I'm trying to sort of blend we could talk about it and information you to death to there's more to life than we can kind of explain and understand. You know, our bodies are so profound. I just felt like you unlocked something that my body was naturally designed to be able to do, which was just to feel better, you know, and it's like, isn't that what we all want? But I mean, the amount of training you've had is pretty extensive.
Yes, it is.
Well, and I think one area that she hasn't even mentioned, and she's highlighted it, but you're basically just short of taking certain exams of being an acupuncturist as well. So you've studied Chinese medicine. You have a master's degree in Chinese medicine.
But I don't think people understand what goes into all that either. I don't think they know that that's hard to become or whatever.
Many years of study.
Many years.
Yeah, many years of study and of dedication. And so And then to be implementing all of those tools and those techniques and the science really behind the acupuncture, which we absolutely know through data, through experimentation, we know it works. We know it impacts neurology, it impacts the brain. We know it impacts our physiology. And so to be able to put those pieces together, I've never seen it done by anybody anywhere else. And I love what you do. I think it's brilliant. We're grateful to have you here at our office, and I hope everybody takes advantage of you.
Thank you.
Meaning, I hope that they come. I hope that they come to get treated by you. I hope they come to get treated by you.
And we are starting teaching here, and classes. I'm teaching parents how to work on their children.
Really?
And that we're separating like one class for ear infections, one for respiratory, one for calming anxiety, because I want it to be user friendly. I am taking it apart, and this has been years. People might look at me and think it's simple, and to get where I am right now, it's a ton of hands-on. So I'm taking it apart. I want it to be user friendly so people can use this every day or when they need it. They have the tools, they have the resources. They know how to help their children and their family. I have clients that have learned from me working on them that do it on their niece, do it on their nephew. Their kids and their family will ask them. One of my clients says they ask her, Aunt Ellie, will you do that lymphatic massage on me? I have another client, her granddaughter is asking for it. And so again, we're just making it very simple so that it's easy to follow along. And that is something that you can do. I have videos I'm teaching here. That is my mission. I have a big passion for that. We have the ability to help ourselves. The lymphatic system is your miracle worker. It is here to support you. We just have to understand how to work with it.
That's a beautiful way to close it out.
I think that's a great finish right there. And Stephanie's helped us to know how we can be well now.
The music came in there.
That's all right.
A little off. I pressed the wrong button, so blame me. But
came in high.
Thank you, Stephanie, so much for being here. Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.
Namaste.